So in 2012, I started a not-for-profit organization called Saris for Good Karma.
Yes.
And basically what I tried to do was enable about 150 women to be able to have their own independence, somehow, by turning sari fabric into finished goods and then selling it off. What I realized when I did this project was when you have the giver mindset only, you have giver burnout. And after a while, when you're running your own business and you have an NGO project, you tend to not understand the business side of things, and you give too much rather than understanding that it needs to also be a social entrepreneur venture, which is building purpose and building business impact on the other side. I learned quite quickly and I had to close this organization down in 2014 after winning many awards and attending many conferences about NGOs. And what I realized now that I'm in a position to work on purpose and business,
Yes.
is that it is a possibility to do good while you're making a profit. And these are actually not swear words.
What's not a swear word?
Profit is not a swear word.
Okay.
Neither is giving, because I
Yeah.
think a lot of people tend to think, oh, it's giving, it's just charity. And it's not about that.
So giving is not about charity. What's it about?
So giving is about understanding that we all have an opportunity and a role to contribute to society. And having a giver mindset means that we just want to be able to put our heart into things and make the world a little bit better with whatever it is that we are doing. But it doesn't mean that we need to be so focused on giving that we don't get anything from it.
Okay.
So there's a way, I think, the giver mindset is very different from the taker mindset. So I would say taker mindset is for profit only. It's the old 80s system of capitalistic ways in the world where it doesn't matter how we destroy the planet, it doesn't matter about environment, it doesn't matter about slave labor. None of these things matter because we will make a profit. And I feel, I think the world considers this the taker mindset. I strongly believe that there's a way that we can do both.
Yes.
Do good while making a profit.
Okay.
And with Innate Motion, I've actually found that. And
Within that?
with Innate Motion,
Yes.
I've found that.
Okay.
I find that we work with brands with purpose. We focus on building people, planet, and then profit. And our focus is on building purpose brands in the world. And what's great
Building
is
purpose
brands. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
okay.
what I find now is that as we build more purpose, we are able to find more people to buy our brand and buy into our brand, as more people are starting to vote with their wallets.
Okay.
And they're voting for brands that are doing good in the world. And we're finding this more and more with millennials who actually give a damn about what's going on. And we know that they are one of the largest markets and economies at the moment. They are the largest market of people that have disposable income, that are buying, that are sharing their views. And the next big market that's going to come up is the pivotals or the Gen Zs.
The pivotals.
Pivotals or the Gen Zs. And these guys are 15 to 19 years old. In America, I think they're commanding $44 billion already in spend. And it's just going to...
Where are they getting the money from?
It's parents, it's them having their own startups, it's them
Okay.
having a middle income family that's able to support them.
Yeah.
I mean, lots of people are getting wealthier,
Yeah.
while lots of people are getting poorer.
Yeah, they are.
So the rich are spending more and the middle class is getting richer.
Mm.
And as more Chinese and more Indians come into this middle class wealth, you're going to see a lot more money being spent in the world. But you're all going to see a lot more destruction in the world too, because as more people travel, as the resources get more and more depleted, we're going to see a complete change in how we do things. And we're seeing already the change of institutions being broken. We're seeing people not responding to politics like the way they used to. We're seeing how the world is changing in a way that it's never changed before in the amount of time that it's changing.
So, give some specifics there.
So I would say if you look at what Bernie Sanders has been talking about in American politics about
Okay.
contribution, he's an old guy, managed to get a whole lot of young people to
Yeah.
go around his message, get around his message. And yes, if he had more time, more money, he probably would have won that election. And if you look at what he's saying, the message is something that people are responding to. It's about contribution. It's about making us all contribute to a great society as opposed to this demand and control way of thinking. And that's why old institutions are going to be broken down, because people don't have trust in leaderships. They don't have trust in institutions and leaders to guide them. So people start their own communities of trust, and they don't believe in networks of expertise and experts anymore. because you can't take advice from experts who don't know you anymore. So brands are facing the same problems with relevance. And as we become more evolved as a society, as we become more conscious, this is going to become more and more part of our DNA. So brands that respond to this now will actually be able to have a relationship with the people that they serve, the customer, the old customer. Because at the end of the day, if you are a brand that understands your consumer, you will know that you are at the service of the consumer, because that's where your brand started. That's who pays your salary at the end of the day, not the shareholders. So as soon as we understand that we are talking to humans and not targets and consumers, we will quickly realize where our bread and butter is coming from. And when we start realizing that, we will start doing things that are purposeful and meaningful in the lives of the people who we serve with our brands. And Innate Motion fulfills this role of understanding purpose in the lives of the people that you serve. And ultimately, building purpose brands is about having influence and impact at scale, because all the brands that we work with, which is the Fortune 500s, have massive impact in the lives of the people that they serve. From soaps to beverages to water brands, this is where the world is moving, is how can we be of service to people.
So give me a couple of examples.
So for Innate Motion, Coke was one of the first projects we did 9 years ago. And it was around the inside of happiness. And it started at a time when the world, around the Coke world at the time, which was Belgium, was in chaos. And more people were finding that politics weren't working, kids were getting contaminated by certain Coke products. And it was a time when the morale of people was just down. And Coke could have went out and done what most brands do, great PR. But they didn't do that. They went out and they understood what was wrong with people at the time. Why were they feeling unhappy? What was the cause of what was happening? And the CEO even went out and started apologizing to people individually. And then Coke recalled all its cans, all its bottles, and said, we will not put anything on the shelf until we find the cause of the problem. See,
so
huge.
This was all in Belgium?
This is in Belgium. Yeah, you've read the story, right? Yeah. It was all in Belgium. And they only came back when they said, we've put green caps on all the new Cokes. We are going to be the icon for happiness, and we're going to help you to unlock it. And then they started becoming this icon for happiness, creating events, marketing, all sorts of things that just unlocked happiness for people again. And now when you see a Coke ad, you actually feel happy. You've got this feeling that goes with it. You don't feel that when you see a water ad. You don't see that when you see a Fanta ad. You see it when you see a Coke ad. You feel that feeling. And the idea behind unlocking happiness is that in the world of chaos and depression, there was a brand that was standing for happiness. And if you look at what always Coca-Cola was very intrinsic, me, I am always here, versus the unlocking of happiness is all of us are now can be happy. So it was this all versus me centric.
Okay. But it was still branding in the same way, in the same project.
It was still same product, but what it did was it changed how it started communicating. It started doing events and activation that was meaningful in people's lives. So I'll give an example. One of the campaigns was between India and Pakistan.
Okay.
So the Coke point of view is that there's more that unites us than divides us. And what they did with that is they put a Coke fridge in India and a Coke fridge in Pakistan. And then they had people in India and Pakistan, which is the most divided places in the world, to do things together. So they literally had dance with me, and there's someone danced there and unlocked a Coke. And then it would have touch my hand. It was Skype screens on two sides of the world, basically, in two malls. And what it showed was that, and what people said afterwards was that there's actually more that is a uniting force for us than a dividing force. But actually governments are stopping us from seeing each other, and lines are being drawn between us. But actually there's a friend that I could have in Pakistan or India. So they started doing meaningful activations and campaigns like that.
I'm just going to stop this.